Good morning, Extension English. I am just giving you a bit of an update on where we're at and how we're going to work through our, at least our first few weeks of our term. So I want you to firstly just be really aware that the majority of our work this term is on your independent research project. We do jump between the two units this term, so we will still be analysing Animal Farm and introducing Death of Stalin and analysing that film. But the majority of your time will be spent on that independent research project. So for all of your first, your screencasts and things like that, they will go into this section here on the independent research project site. And that's where I've put up both your workflow doc and your timetable. So let's just go through that first. This is probably going to be a set of 2 or 3 videos just to get us going and make sure we're all on the same track. So firstly, I'd like you to look at this resource column in the HAPARA page. Again, I'm just reminding you, the independent research project, that's the HAPARA page that we're mainly working off this term. So the first thing I put up in the lavender there is your timetable. So please be aware that we will treat all our classes as a Zoom class. We may not stay on Zoom for the whole time, but we will at least begin each lesson with that. And I will let you know in those times and communicate with you on terms of what you might be doing and whether we might jump off Zoom and things like that. But so I've just put the timetable up there. We've got day 1 where we'd have an extension class, and that will be all Zoom, but obviously not this week. And day 3. So our first class will be on Wednesday, and we will do the whole class using Zoom. Okay, so you can connect in with me that way. And then in week 2, day 10, we've got another class there. Because we don't have many lessons, I think it is really worthwhile that we just treat all of our lessons as a Zoom so that we can have that verbal feedback and communication. So that's the plan there. I thought this would be a good way anyhow, just in case you're wondering what we're going to do before we hit that first lesson in Wednesday. So that's just there. Okay. And then underneath that, I will put down the screencasts with any information. So you can see there we had week 10 and week 11 casts there. I will do that here. So this is where you'll get your generalized information around what's happening in each week. Okay. You've then got your term 2 workflow doc. So that looks very similar to the advanced one, except for it's for extension. So you will have, you've got some information here. I really want to bring your attention to some things that are written here. And the first is that if you're not online and you're missing those class times, I will need to follow up. I will need to firstly email you. And if that continues to happen, contact home, because we really need to be keeping on top of our work, okay? The other bit is that I am going to need to be in contact with home if you're not actually getting through the work. So please stay in communication with me in terms of whether you're struggling with particular bits of work or if there's a reason you can't be on, please just keep that communication up so that we're all on the same page and I can make sure I can support you the best I can. Again, I've just in this popped your timetable in there, and then down here will be the activities for the lessons and who's there. Okay, so that's just that written register that you've been online and engaged with your work. If we jump back in here again, assessment task 2 is sitting there. You won't see that yet, and I will present that to you when the time comes. It'll probably be next week, I'd say. Maybe even, I might even do it this Wednesday. I'll just double check. Okay, so down here in this first section here, what you're going to see is some information. So you've got the online journal submission. This is all relating to your assessment. Your TED Talk slides, again, relating to your assessment, and your milestone relating to your assessment. I'm going to talk further in depth when we do our assessment task presentation on those things, but that's that top section of the HAPARA page, and that's where you'll find all of that information in, and then into this section here. This is the resource column, and that's where you'll find any screencasts that give us more information on that. So if we go down, my aim is to make it as simple as possible. I'm going to go through this in more depth in a moment, but you'll actually notice that we have term 2, weeks 1 to 3, and then week 3 is there's a checkpoint, and weeks 4 to 6, and then a checkpoint, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go into the depth of the week now in the next part, but I just wanted you to see the structure of how the page is going to roll out.